Hello and welcome back to the Divorce Angel podcast. This is episode 22. If you're a new listener to my podcast, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you could be with me. If you are new and you didn't listen to last week's podcast, I really recommend that you go back and just have a listen to that. If you're not and you listened to last week, well, this is a continuation of the thing with an affair is that it is so hurtful. We just blame ourselves for what went on and what we could have done differently. As Melissa talks about in this episode today, the guilt and embarrassment and shame that she felt, it made her stay in inaction and prolong the pain for longer than necessary. And that's one of the reasons that she started her business. So having not been in that situation, it's hard for me to comment, but to be able to send my clients and listeners to an expert in this area is always so amazing. And that's why I have a panel of experts and call them my army of angels. So, obviously I am now adding Melissa to that list of experts that we have because she does have such a wonderful course and a subscription available that is really achievable. So if you are struggling with an affair and you are looking for help and support, please go over and check out her website and the resources that she has there. Now, just to give you an idea of how I came across Melissa was that one of my beautiful clients who I am helping get divorced, she is a woman in her 40s, 4 children, been married for nearly 17 years. They are both professionals and run a business together. Now, she found out that her husband was having an affair with the receptionist at their business. So you can imagine the heartache and pain that she felt. Now, not only has it ruined her home life, it's also had flow-on consequences to her business and her income earning. When it comes to these things, they can be very toxic and you really need the help and support from the professionals who can help you get through it. No one said it was going to be easy, and if anything, it is really hard. And last week, Melissa spoke about the fact that she'd lost her sister and she felt getting over the trauma of the affair that her husband had was worse than the pain of losing a really good friend and her sister. So I could only imagine what this is like and how people must feel who have gone through it. So listen to this podcast and I hope you take some real key points away from it if you find yourself in this situation. I've linked in the show notes to Melissa's site and find out more about her program. There's also information about the other 2 counsellors and therapists that are part of her video, so you can see who they are and what experience they have. But the big takeaway I really want you to get from this podcast is no matter what you are going through right now, no matter how bad life seems, there is always something around the corner that can help and improve your existence. Just because you feel right now you can't go on and life could not get any worse, I promise you that there's help and support out there. The internet and all of the resources that we can get at the tip of our fingers on our mobile phones or our computers, there's access for everyone to get the support that you need. Please don't deal with this alone, because as Melissa says, if you prolong it and you don't address it, you just sort of stay in this inaction. And I often explain the analogy that I have when I was sort of going through this stage, and it was like swimming in Play-Doh. I felt like I was moving my arms, but I just wasn't getting anywhere. I was so stuck. So please, you are not alone. There's people and resources out there that can help.
Welcome to the Divorce Angel podcast, and thank you for joining us. Get ready to uncover the strategies everyone can implement for successful separation and divorce. This will save you valuable time, money and emotions while learning the secrets to your happily ever after. And now your host, my wife, Tanya Summerton.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, isn't it? I think from a perspective, it's interesting because, as I said, I've never, ever dealt with what you've dealt with, but I have clients who have gone through it, and you can just see that they look broken. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You've got to put the pieces back together. It's hard enough going through a separation or a divorce, but when you've got this additional trauma to deal with, it just makes it that much harder.
Yeah, it's not a fate I wish on anyone.
So let's talk about this amazing business that you have. It's called After the Affair. So you've talked about you saw that other people were struggling with it. So what was the catalyst for you to start this business?
Well, like I said, I start and sell businesses, so I understood how to create something from a business perspective that could help people. And what I saw was this huge gap. There's a lot of programs out there to restore relationships and marriages after an affair. There's programs to heal the sex addict. There's a lot of stuff, but I didn't see a whole lot that was just for the cheated partner, just addressing his or her needs to heal, because it's very unique how you need to heal. And then I also saw, I saw all these reasons why I didn't get help. And here's where they were. This is real honest. I felt a lot of shame. I felt so embarrassed, like I was not good enough, or we didn't have enough sex, or I wasn't fun enough. And so I was so embarrassed to reach out for help. So there's a lot of shame that I see out there. And then by the time I had worked through that, I was broke. I was a single mother, and I couldn't have afforded help. And then there's just the whole time. A lot of people have to take on several jobs, and they don't have time to reach out and go see a therapist for an hour every week. So those three reasons that I saw myself not getting help and I saw other people not getting help, I specifically designed After the Affair to answer all of those needs. And so it's online, and you watch the video sessions whenever you want. I pretty much killed myself to price it really, really, really low. I wanted it to be super affordable. We actually, for every subscription we do, we give away a subscription to someone in need. And this feels odd to me, but every single person that has, not every single, but really close, probably 90% of the people that reach out for free services are actually pregnant women who are just homeless, like they've been completely abandoned. And so we basically are filling that need. And I have to tell you, I really tried to ignore this calling. For me, this is a real big calling. Like, I knew I needed to do this, but I ignored it for years because I was busy and I didn't have time for it. And I have little girls, and I made every excuse there was. But finally, I just couldn't ignore it. I just felt so pulled to creating this because I knew I could find the world's best therapist and provide that kind of help to everybody for pennies,
Yeah, and there's not too many businesses out there today, because when we go into business, it's all about be able to get a return on our investment, those sorts of things. So to have a program that is affordable for everyone is amazing. And obviously you've sent me one of your videos, which I've watched, and it's full of information, and it's great to see the quality of what you've provided for the people going through this. So talk about the other two people that are part of this program with you.
Yeah, they are amazing therapists. Like I said, my goal was to get the very best of the best, the people that most of us could never have afforded, even if we're quite wealthy. And so I pulled in Melo Garcia. She actually lost her daughter, and then a week later discovered her husband had been cheating on her. And so she is a therapist, but she's also just gone through this grieving and mourning and loss like most of us never want to know. And so her advice and her direction is very practical, very, very useful. She's amazing. And then other therapists, she's pretty famous in the YouTube world, Julia Christina. She is, I'd call her more of a textbook therapist. She's really like, you're having triggers, and this is why, this is what's happening in your brain, and your body wants to protect you, and this is okay. And so she's very psychology based, I'd say. And then I'm the third person in the videos. The three of us are always together discussing these topics. And I'm very type A. Okay, guys, but what do we do right now? And I kind of interrogate them in a way to try to pull out that information that I know that I wanted, and I know that everyone else with After the Affair is really looking for. So it's very, I don't know, I like to call us a badass group of women on a mission.
Yeah, so I get that after watching the video, and I can see. Well, so talk about your program. So the clients, once they've signed up, they get a video once a month, is it, or once a week? How does that work?
Yeah, they sign up, and it's 8 weeks. So every week they get one session, and then they'll get homework, and we'll be encouraging them throughout the week to actually do the homework. After the Affair is an amazing program, and I think that even if you are reaching out for therapy or doing anything else, it's really great work to do on your own. But it is not for everybody. There are people who are, I'd say, people who don't want to be the victim and, really want to take charge of their life. They want to move past this. They don't want to carry this around forever. That's who After the Affair is, the people who are willing to watch the sessions, to do the work. And we get emails, tons of them every day, for people that are going through the program, and they're all very similar. It's just how much they're changing, what they're realizing, how much they're learning to love themselves and value themselves, and the real practical ways to handle anxiety and panic attacks and flashbacks. Flashbacks are the freaking worst, by the way. So yeah, it's just it's not for everybody, but it's definitely for those of us who, I guess, really fierce, really strong people who just want something else. They want joy again.
Yeah, and I think that's the common thread between what both you and I do is I'm very much the same. I want to work with people that there's no doubt that come to me in victim mode. And everyone who is going through a divorce, whether it's your choice to leave the relationship or not, feels like they are a victim. I definitely felt like I was a victim, even though it was my choice to leave my marriage. Because the fact is when we first got married and we said those vows, we had these aspirations that we were going to be with this person forever, and we never thought it would turn out the way it did. So we all feel like we're victim. But to take that and to not live in that victim mode, but to get to what I call the victor mode, we take our clients from being a victim to a victor, and then we can live these really fulfilled lives. And just like what you've done, like you've turned that victim into a business where you help everyone else. And to be honest, I really think you found your purpose as such, haven't you?
I sure have. And it's like the most exciting work I've ever done. I love it every minute.
Yeah, when you get out of bed every morning and nothing is an issue and you just can't help to talk to the next person or to find out another way to make it better for someone else, it's not work, is it? It's just you do it for the love of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even last night I was tired, but I had just gotten a really beautiful email from a woman, and I was so fired up. I couldn't sleep, so I just kept working. I'm a little tired now because I didn't sleep enough, but it's just this beautiful passion. For me, it's very interesting. When I discovered the affairs and years after, I would never have thought that something good could come out of it, that I could be better or stronger or braver. And I see it happen over and over again. You can become braver and stronger, and you can be very, very proud of who you become on the other side of, divorce, on the other side of an affair.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's really important because I talk about this quite a lot, and it's about our journey through life. And I think things happen to us, and at the time when they're happening, we can't deal with it. We can't cope with it. But if we look at it as a gift, and that might sound really awful if someone's had an affair on you, but if they've had an affair on you, it means that they weren't really the right person for you anyway. And if I look at where you are now and, how happy you are, I'm sure you would not want to go back to where you were before. Is that right?
Oh, yes. And, I think that with an affair, you don't get that perspective for a while. You have to start healing. You have to start seeing that change in your heart. And once you start seeing it, you're like, oh, this is happening. And so, if you've newly found out about an affair and you're still kind of in shock, it is not realistic for you to think that you should think about and feel like that. It's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be hurt and crushed and kind of shocked. But eventually, if you do choose to take the steps and move through the pain and not try to go over it, then you will see a person that you will be really proud of.
No, that's amazing. And I'm sure you've got some of those stories to tell of some great women because you help men as well too, don't you?
Yeah, most of our subscribers are women, but we do have a good number of men. And actually, it's interesting, almost at least the stats here in the U.S., almost the same number of women report of cheating as men do here. I think that the women just are more prone to reach out for this type of help.
Well, this has been an amazing podcast. I love what you do, and I'm sure we are going to do some more stuff together in the future because I think we're very aligned in how we're trying to help people get through this awful period in their lives. Tell me where people can find you. So,
we are online at aftertheaffair.co. You can also find us on social media, After the Affair on Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube, actually. You can find us everywhere.
Yep, you're all over the place. And as I said, I've been stalking you lately, and you put out some really, really good information and some thought-provoking memes and stuff on Instagram, which are great. Well, thank you so much for your time today and everything that you do to help people that are going through an affair. And I think your price is $8.98 a session. Is that right? It's so cheap.
I know. I think some people are like, are you sure this is right? It's just $35 US a month. And so we just do 2 monthly charges. So, that was the goal. I wanted it to be less than $10 a session. And I was told it couldn't be done. So I did it anyways.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you have certainly turned something traumatic and terrible into a purpose, and I'm very happy to not only have you on the podcast, but hopefully for us to do some more in the future. So thank you so much for giving up your Saturday night in America, and it's Sunday morning here in Australia. But thank you so much for giving up your Saturday night to talk to me. And I will put in the show notes all of your social media handles and how people can find you. Thanks so much for everything you do.
Yes, thank you to you too. I love the work that you do and your passion to help women navigate through this really hard time. So thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Mel. So listeners, thank you once again for your time. This is the Divorce Angel podcast, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye for now.